Morning. Sorry, microphone wasn't working. It is working now. I am here. How's everybody doing? Where's my chat gone? Oh, I'm so organised this morning. Morning, Diamond. Morning, Eric. Michael. Mr. Brightside. Afternoon, wherever you are. Morning, Devrim. John. Right. DAX has been selling off quite hard since the open this morning. Morning, Andrew. So a bit of a sell-off underway at the minute. We're running down into, pen's gone as well. I'm not organised this morning. So I've been trying to organise a Thai massage, believe it or not. See if I can help my arm. So I'm a bit all over the place this morning. Morning, it's time. Artificial Stupidity, good name. Morning, LA. John, Big Papa. Jacob. I can't say everybody's name. Come on. I'll be here all morning. Won't get any trading done. Yeah, so big sell-off this morning. We're just coming straight down into this propulsion gap from the open yesterday. Obviously, if you remember, yesterday's open was a huge move, and then we had a lovely rally as well. Really nice, profitable morning yesterday morning, and then yesterday afternoon, the Nasdaq let me down and gave back half the profits. But anyway. So yeah, big move yesterday. We're coming straight back down into that propulsion gap at the moment. So we'll see where we go. But there's a possibility we might get some buyers entering here. Since the open yesterday, we literally didn't look back, went straight up there, and we closed above the move as well. So it was a very bullish day yesterday. If you look at it on the daily, this is what I was anticipating yesterday. Remember when I said yesterday, we've got this control candle here. We had that big down day on Friday where we closed outside that control candle. I was expecting that sort of movement back in. If we did break down yesterday, then obviously I would expect us to come down and challenge these lows and maybe start the next leg of the bear market. But we just pulled back inside. So we are just totally stuck. And where we've opened today, we're bang in the middle of that range. So impossible to give any indication as to which way it's going to go at the open today. So obviously, as usual, we just got to sit here and see where we go. Morning, Jacob. Morning, Ladder. So big day yesterday. And today we're kind of stuck, but it's selling off a little bit at the open. So we might come down and test yesterday's low. It's a long way to go. Why haven't I got yesterday's high low on there? It's aqua. That's not going to be visible, is it? Let's put that in cornflower. Oh, that's sky. Cornflower. That one. So yesterday's high and low. So that's yesterday's low there, which is within an ADR. And yesterday's high is also within ADR today. So potentially a big move down, but we'll see what sort of buyers we get stepping in here as to whether this is a... obviously, this move that we had on Friday, there is potential for this to be a liquidity run on the entire move. Yeah, since we broke this high here, yesterday we took out the low of every single day we've had for the last 2 and a bit weeks. So there is potential for this to be basically a driving move higher and to come back up and challenge those highs. So if that is the case, that is where I'd expect to see a step in where we stepped in yesterday. So could be an interesting open. No ADRs today, no weekly ranges. We have had a monthly range hit this morning. The pound New Zealand hit this morning. So we've just hit the monthly range. It is the last day of the month today. Pound New Zealand's just hit its AMR. So that is your low in February. So there's your monthly high hit. So pound's still rallying today. Obviously, we've got a very... we had that news yesterday that the Brexit deal is done, and the market seems to have liked it with some pairs, most pairs, if you can see. So we had a nice big rally yesterday on that news. So we'll see where we go today. It's very extended across the board on a lot of pairs. So Specifically, the Aussie pairs are very, very weak at the moment. They've moved the furthest. So we've left some nice propulsion gaps on pound New Zealand, for example, but they have all been tested. So we've had the propulsion retest, propulsion retest, propulsion retest, and we're pushing today. So looking at where we're potentially going on the pound New Zealand, for example, we've pretty much got clear sky from where we are. You have to go out to 4 hour, and we've got this sort of balance, price discovery, balance, price discovery, and that's where we held. So we're coming back up into that area at the moment. So nothing really obvious standing out as resistance on that. We've got 2 minutes to the open. News today, we've got, right, so something weird happened yesterday. Bank of Japan, we had Kuroda down to speak either today or yesterday in the news, because I said it's not usual they schedule that in for 4:10. It's normally tentative. The reason it was scheduled in for 4:10 was because it happened yesterday at 4:10. They just had it on the wrong bloody day. So actually, we did have all that news out of Japan yesterday. However, there wasn't anything really particularly interesting in it, so we don't have to worry about it. Morning, Seaball. Morning, Freeman. So only news we've had overnight, we've had the GDPs and PPIs for France this morning, which were a little bit down. ECB's Lane came out this morning and said there is a case for 50 basis points rates hike in March. It is still strong. So again, backing up what Lagarde has said, that we're going to go up by 0.5% in March. I don't see any reason why that won't happen. So we should be looking bullish on the euro. So that's about it. That's your news today. Oh, sorry, I didn't go to the news today. Sorry. CAD GDP today. Important one. So we got CAD GDP. That is a leading indicator. And then we've got consumer confidence for the US. The big one, though, is tomorrow. It's the GDP and the CPI for the Australian dollar. So then we've got PMIs tomorrow afternoon. So this afternoon, 1:30, 1 hour ahead of market open, we've got the CAD news. The CAD news will affect also the US dollar. The GDP of the CAD and the US dollar are linked. So we should get movement on both. Market's just opened. Excuse me. We're rallying short so far. Pound yen just got an RSI extension. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat today. So if you're taking the pre-market 15, you are short. So I was just asked in the Telegram group, which strategy do you advise for non-farm payroll data publication? What sort of question is that? What strategy do you advise for non-farm payroll? Hit one of the buttons, close your eyes, cross your fingers, and hope. There isn't a strategy. Okay, so if you're trading the pre-market, you've got roughly a 30-point stop. We are 30 points. You've got 1 R return so far. I normally go for 1.5 R, which would be 45. So obviously, if you're pre-market, you will have that protected now, just in case it's a whipsaw. So pretty good open. So we are sitting down now inside that propulsion gap. This is the origin. So we just tested pretty much the origin of propulsion. So hopefully we will see the buyer step in here. This is your 5-minute opening range. So I'm looking for a break high of that. We'll see where the market goes though. So he's bearish at the moment. Morning, Themba. You said the wrong name again. Did I? About what? What did I say the wrong name about? I'm still on lots of drugs. That's my excuse for everything at the moment. I went to my first spin class last night for 3 weeks. because my arm it's just, I'm at the point with my arm now where it's like it's been so painful for so long. I can't work out whether it's actually hurting anymore or I'm just used to it, but it seems a little bit less painful. So I went to spin class last night and I looked like a complete idiot on the bike. I just, like, my left arm was just flailing around everywhere trying to hold onto the handlebars because I couldn't get it in a comfortable position. So one of my mates at spinning has advised me to go to this Thai massage person, see if that will help. Although it's nerve damage, obviously, he reckons she can help. So I'm booking an appointment to see her. So that'll be interesting. But I'm still on lots of drugs for it. And this is my third day now of being on the double dose of drugs. So if I start saying things stupid and start acting like a weirdo, that's why. It's nothing to do with me. It's the drugs. That's my excuse for everything. Kuroda. Oh, did I say Kuroda? Sorry, yeah, Ueda, not Kuroda. I'm going to keep saying Kuroda because I've been used to saying Kuroda for so many years. Governor Kuroda, but it's not. It's Ueda now. Just had some news come through. For the first time, money markets completely price the 4% peak ECB rate. Really? I don't believe that. I think we're going higher. So the euro is currently sitting at 3. We're going up by 0.5 in March. So that'll take us to 3.5. They're going to increase rates all through 2023, they've said, and no decreases until 2024 to 2025. So I don't believe if we're going up by a 0.5 in March, 4% is going to be the cap. They're going to need to go higher than that. We need to go higher than that in the UK. Their inflation is the second worst in the world at the moment. And though we had a good drop, I think it's going to take more than 4% to bring that down, but I don't know. We'll see. Right. 5-minute candle is about to finish. So on the 15, you didn't quite get your 1.5 bar on it. You got 41, close enough. Oh, have I not turned that off? I don't think I have I? Oh, bugger. Sorry. I need to turn trailers off as well. Oh, I need to put the magic number different as well. Sorry, I've got the EA running on this account twice. Just save that. That should be. This should be running in a, without the trades active. Well, this would be interesting. This could be a profitable morning, or it could be a really, really bad idea. But hey, let's go for it. Let's double it. Let's go double down. Anyone want a gift card? $25, cheap price. Yeah, okay. Bye-bye. You're banned. God, spammers. Right. Okay, so we've completely filled the propulsion gap from yesterday. So the market seems as though it wants to sell off at the moment. There's no buyers from this area yesterday. So yesterday's low is the initial target to the downside. We've got a small gap to fill. It may be that we're going for that. So it looks like I'm going to go short. I'm going short, one short. Can we have a look at pound odd? Yeah. We'll have a look at a few pairs in a minute. Pound odd. So all the pound pairs are shorts, apart from pound odd. That is the only one that is not a short at the moment. So it's got a. Actually, the others are kind of neutral now. But yeah, pound odd is the only one that's got a slight bias on it. Both of these are negative bias on COT, so they cancel each other out. At the moment, we've got a long position from a sentiment perspective because everybody is shorting it. So if you look at the retail sentiment at the moment, they are all short on the pound. Yeah, so pound New Zealand, pound odd, pound yen, pound Swiss, pound US, neutral pound CAD, and long euro pound, which means short pound. So they are completely short on the pound at the moment, obviously. What's going on with the pound? It's flying. So at the minute, the bias is obviously to go long. When they're all stopped out of all of these positions, then we'll start to get a pullback on it. So at the moment, there's no bias either way. So we've got an RSI extension on the hourly. So I would be looking to get in short, but obviously bear in mind all the time the retail market and the retail crowd are short and they're putting their stop orders at these highs. They're going to keep coming and taking them. So it's going to take a little bit of a drop. If you look at the historical retail sentiment for the pound, you'll see there was a massive shift yesterday on the pound US dollar. Yeah, so that's the green one there. I don't know if you can really see it. It's a bad color. But the pound US dollar sentiment yesterday was up here. Yeah, they were all long it. Yeah, so they all got out of their longs yesterday. As usual, everybody exits early. Yeah, as with the price was pushing, they all exited their longs and they all flipped short all the way down to there. So we went from pretty much a plus 72, i.e. 72% of the market being long, and then we flipped to them all being short, about 70% of the market being short. So of course what the market's done is it's continued to push higher. As they've flipped that way, what they've done is they've put their stops in the market. So the market's driving up. So, oops, sorry, wrong one. Wrong MT4. So yeah, at the moment it's kind of a long. So you want to start building a short position because it is going to flip the other way. They're all going to suddenly go, as soon as we get any kind of pullback on this, they're all going to suddenly dive in short and it's going to go long again. But eventually they'll stop doing that and it'll flip the other way. So we're extended on the RSI. You know, if you get into that sort of position, you can get out of it. So I got in on an ADR reversal there, but it is extended. If you look at it on the 4 hour, we are up at the 80 level. The 80 level is somewhere we don't get to very often. When we do get to the 80 level, obviously we tend to have a catastrophic collapse. We haven't been there for a while. But if you come out and look at previous instances, we had one there, big pop. We had one there, big drop. We had one there, which was there, to drop. We had well, that's Liz Truss. There. I don't know what that was, but that was some kind of weird squeeze we had going on there. But obviously, when we got further down, we got the extension. So if you'd have got in on the 80, you'd have scaled in and got out. Same situation now. We've got this resistance coming up. So that would be where we would expect to get some kind of action. We've got these lows here to pay attention to, and that high. So somewhere in this region up here is where I would look for some kind of reaction. So again, you know, the market at the moment is short. They're driving up. They're taking all that liquidity. They're still short. The liquidity is still at the highs. There is liquidity potentially there on long-term investments, although it would be a bit higher. But that's what I would tend to look for. So it's up to you. You can scale in on your first position now, get down to M15, wait for a reversal alert. You would have probably got in yesterday anyway on this one. You would have had a reversal alert in... Actually, you didn't get a reversal alert yesterday, did you? You got one in here, but I don't know if it's extended then. You had one there anyway. So there was a reverse alert there, but obviously it's driven this morning. So get your next reverse alert short on it, I would. Looks good. Okay, DAX, we are sitting inside. Oh my God, I've got 3 shorts on now. So the 15, I'm running the 5, 10, 15 strategy on this. So the 10-minute opening range is a lower wick. So I've got a second entry going in on that lower wick. I'm just going to cancel one of these out because I don't know which one's taken by which EA now. One taken by 999 is the one I want to get out of. That's 1,000. Sell stops, isn't it? 1,000. 1,001. So I had the same magic on, didn't I? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a really tight trailer on this one, just so that I'm reducing risk. I don't want to go 3 short. Really. It's a little bit overkill. Yeah, so there you go. So you're already in short, aren't you, Johannes? Yeah, so I don't see a problem with it. You're going to come down. It's really extended. It's just a case of when you've got a resistance basically. So it's heading for this area basically. So we'll get a load of limit orders triggering at that high, which will drive it down. This area here is your accumulation before that push. Then we drove into a second accumulation. Yeah. So when we come down, we're going to come down either into there or into there before we bounce. But I don't think we're going to bounce. I think we're going to come back down quite hard from there because this is the pound. And it doesn't matter if we've just done a new trade deal with Europe, which gives the border checks a little bit of ease. That is not going to increase our GDP or our outlook dramatically enough to make any difference whatsoever. So this is a knee-jerk reaction to this Northern Ireland deal as far as I'm concerned. It's not going to hold. So ADRs today, we haven't got any. No weeklies. We're on Tuesday. Nothing's hit weeklies. Nothing's hit ADRs. We had a load of ADRs yesterday on all the pound pairs. So lots of entries short on the pound pairs yesterday on ADRs. Yeah, so these were ADR moves. So ADR is 147. We got a 177 there on the pound odd, for example. Pound CAD, we had an ADR. That one we're just sitting in accumulation at the moment. Pound Swiss was an ADR. That was 81 on a 79. Again, we're sitting sideways. Pound yen, we're pushing, and pound New Zealand, we're pushing. And pound US dollar, the ADR was, I think that was a 150, wasn't it? 123 and 147. So that's 144. So that's 125 ADR. So that one, the reversal on that one probably wasn't until this morning, was it? Yeah, so your reversal on that one would have been there when that gap candle went in. So you'd have been in short from there. Jesus, that was the only reversal out yesterday. Blimey, that was a big push, wasn't it? So you're in from there. Target that propulsion down to that accumulation. That's good. So yeah, a lot of these are getting ready to play out these ADR reversals from yesterday. DAX, we're within the 5-minute opening range at the moment. No progress. I'm only in one short at the moment. I didn't manage to get gathered up into that second. That's the reason why we use the 15, well, I use a 1.5 pip offset, so that when we get these double bottoms, you don't get triggered into the trade. And I need to change that on the EA because it's not doing it. I need to check all of those today. Right. So there's nothing else to look at really on the ADR side of things. Let me just get the DAX up on my other monitor so I can watch what that thing's up to, because it doesn't seem to be doing anything at the minute. So RSIs, the only thing we've got really extended on RSIs, so we had quite a lot of RSI extensions yesterday and the day before on Friday. They've all flattened out now. So a lot of them are either playing out or they've gone into accumulations. The only thing we've got to look at today is the pound odd, obviously very extended on the 4-hour and the hourly. So we've already looked at this one really, haven't we? Pound odd, good resistance area coming up. So if you're not in it already, good area to start building a position, especially if we come up and tap that. The next reverse alert after we've tapped that would be great. If you are in it, obviously that's an additional point. But if you are in it and you're a little bit squeezed on it for any reason, which you might be because you may have got in on the 70 extension, but I actually got out of that trade. So if you're still in that one, you're probably you're only 2 ADR in drawdown, so it's not the end of the world. But if you did want to do aggressive drawdown control or start a slightly larger position, then that's the area to do it. Pound Swiss extended on the 4-hour, only just. That one's having a little bit of a rest up here at the moment. So we had the big strong push, and again you can see I've got into multiple positions on this one. I had a long there, which I got out of. Then I got in short there. Then I got in short there. Got out of there. So big strong push, accumulation, pushing up at the moment. We've got this area here, which is what we're likely coming up to test. I'm not sure we're going to get back up there. It's going to take an awful lot of pound strength to get these gaps, these propulsion gaps tested. I'm not sure the pound's got enough legs. I might be wrong. You know, it's very difficult to tell with the pound. It's a very resilient currency, but, you know, the fundamentals are not good for the pound at the moment. So I suspect when we get back up here, we'll start to hit a lot of sell orders, which will start to drive this one back down again. Definitely think that's going to get tested. I mean, 99% sure that's going to get tested. It's just when it's going to start coming back down to that area. News-wise this week, we've got Bailey speaking tomorrow. I thought we had another pound. We haven't got another pound, have we? Oh yes, Broadbent. Yesterday was the other one. So yeah, we got Bailey speaking tomorrow morning. That might act as a catalyst. He may well talk the pound down. Don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But other than that, there's no other catalysts on the pound this week. We've got nothing on the Swissy either to drive it. So, but it still looks good for a short. It's an H4 M15 mean reversion. So take the M15 reverse alert if you get that this morning. You would have had one if you were monitoring it yesterday. There. So you'd have had an entry there. That would have been an entry trigger regardless. You'll always get an entry trigger on the overnight a lot of the time. Pound yen extended on the 4 hour and the hourly. So both of these good opportunities for mean reversions. Again, pound is pushing very, very strong at the moment. We've just taken out the Asian high, which is good. 4 hour, obviously you see we're just still pushing. So all we've had basically is a strong push, flag, strong push, flag, strong push, getting ready for a mean reversion on that one, profit take move. So there's not really any easy levels to look at on this. On one of my other accounts, where I literally am just trading support and resistance levels, I've got an entry based here. So I've got pendings set at that level. When we finish this propulsion gap fill, I want to get in short, but it's a big if. I think at any time the yen could power up, and I think at any time the pound could power down. So it's whether or not it's got enough legs with all these pound pairs. If we get ADRs again today, 2 ADRs in a row, I think we're going to be exhausted. We're going to get, you know, that climbing up the stairs, elevator shaft move. So these are all good to start getting into. I think all these pounds, pound New Zealand as well. Don't get into all of them, obviously, because you'll be overexposed. But pound New Zealand pushing up. We've got this propulsion gap again, 150, 175. Not sure we're going to make it up there. It's going to take an awful lot of steam to get all the way up there. You know, it's green candles all the way at the moment. So it's just a case of waiting, really, for that weakness to start to kick in. So just taking reversal alerts and obviously scale in and scale out when it comes back down again. So we've got propulsion gaps to test. That one's already been tested. We've got a propulsion gap orphaned all the way down there on M15 as well. So, you know, there's a long way for this to drop. This is not going to hold this move, I don't think. I don't know. We'll see what Bailey says tomorrow. Bailey might come out tomorrow and say something we don't know. And then we're going to get a big push. You never know. DAX is just sitting at the lows at the minute, undecided as to what it wants to do. So we've got the propulsion gap on the 5 minute, which has been tested twice and held. So we've definitely got sellers in the market, but we don't seem to have enough sellers to actually get a move underway yet. So sitting in a range. So other than that, we've got US dollar yen is the only other extension we've got, which is a 4 hour. So we're extended. We were extended on this one previously as well on Friday after the big push. So again, the yen, this is the area that I've got highlighted. So where we pulled down into this area, that's where we initially slammed. We resistance, 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 bang. So this is a very, very strong support turn resistance turncoat area, which we're heading up to now. 150 ADR. So anywhere in this area, if you look at where we are, any one of these wicks, really, there's not going to be a liquidity run on this. It's too old. But any one of these wicks here really can act as a catalyst when we hit it. So from this line, 137, which is around about 125 ADR, from there onwards, you've got a lot of areas where you could potentially get a lot of limit orders sitting waiting to trigger a short. We've also got this area here. Now, this is the propulsion move, and this candle before it is kind of the origin of the propulsion move. So that's why I've got the high of that, the low of that candle highlighted, because this is potentially an area where we might find some sellers starting to set in as well. So this propulsion gap is now complete. So good opportunity for shorts there potentially. So I like that short as well. I like everything short against the yen at the moment, even if it is the US dollar, because the yen, when they get fed up, they just intervene and they slam it. Yeah, so they just go, no, we're not happy with your current rate of exchange, and they just dump it. Or they pump the yen rather, and everything dumps against the yen. So I'd be happy scaling into shorts. The US dollar is probably the one I'd be least happy to do it with, because that is the strongest currency out there at the minute. So if you're going to pick a yen to short, you want to pick something that's weak. So look at the bias scorecard and look at the yen pairs and see which one is the worst. And at the moment, it's the pound or the Aussie dollar. Everything else is a buy. So ideally, you don't really want to be buying those. You want to be selling the Aussie dollar yen and the pound yen. Those are the two that I would concentrate on. Pound yen, not at the moment, because we've got sentiment our way. But as soon as that sentiment disappears, this becomes a -2 to a -4, depending on what happens with sentiment. And that becomes a sell. So the pound yen is the one you want to get on at the moment. And the pound yen is extended. So that's my best sell on the yen. I'm already in it. But I've also got another strategy I'm running, which is getting in there as well, to do with wide range bars, basically. If shorting pound odd or pound New Zealand today, so we don't mind the news coming soon. Well, yeah. So anybody, the myth, the legend, boys, buy low, sell high, simple. Good one. Pound odd and pound New Zealand. Yeah, so obviously with both of these, you got the news coming, or Wednesday, isn't it, tomorrow? So yeah, these are going to have a big impact, obviously. This will have an impact on the New Zealand dollar as well. So it's up to you whether you want to get in. If this comes out as a positive, the CPI, the thing you've got to remember with CPI, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, inflation is a double-edged sword. It has, when you get positive CPI figures, the market tends to rally, but the rally is always short-lived, because high CPI, inflation going up, means that interest rates will need to be risen, which makes that currency more attractive, but dumbs down the economy. So if you've got unemployment going up and GDP coming down, and you get higher CPI figures, it's actually negative for the currency, but you tend to get an initial knee-jerk reaction to the upside. If you get a negative CPI, what it does is it takes pressure off interest rates, which is potentially not good for the currency long term, but it will it will increase GDP and it will drop unemployment, which is why these are the figures that we monitor in the key fundamentals, because these are all interlinked. Every single one of these is interlinked with each other and has an impact. So when that goes up, that tends to go up. Yeah. When that comes down, that stabilizes and starts to reduce, and that goes up. Yeah. So they all have interlinked effects. So the CPI figures, regardless of how they come out, you will get a spike in all likelihood in one direction or the other. But that spike will typically retrace. So you'll get an A-shaped or a V-shaped recovery on it. But it's your choice. If you're in pound odd or in pound New Zealand, you're in it. So you don't have a choice. Hopefully you'll get that reaction tomorrow. As we get a strong Australian dollar, that will come down. But you might get a weak news off of it, in which case then you're going to scale in again. You're going to be back up into that propulsion. And by the time you scale in, if you get Aussie dollars, imagine if you get Aussie dollar weak news tomorrow, if CPI comes out as negative and the market drops on it, this is going to pump. Yeah. Look how extended this is. And look what happens when we get this extended typically. Yeah. This is going to go up here. And there's only one instance that's happened before in the past. Actually, that's not it. That's Liz Truss. Forget Liz Truss. That's irrelevant. That's just Liz Truss. Don't quite know how else to put it. It's just Liz Truss. But yeah, you know, if you get extended like that because the Australian news is negative tomorrow, you're going to have that situation. Yeah. Bang. 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 The market can't sustain it. It's too stretched. There will be too many banks and institutions in too much profit. They will not be able to do anything but sell. And also, you're going to find there's going to be no sellers left in the market for these guys to buy from. And as soon as they start running out of sellers, the buyers will just go, we can't do anything else, guys. Let's get out. And they'll drop it. And it will just come down like a house of cards. So it doesn't really matter which way you're in at the minute. Well, it does matter which way you're in. Obviously, you want to be shorting it. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about the news. DAX, we're retesting propulsion. Things not going anywhere today. After yesterday's move, I'm not actually that surprised, to be honest. They're all still in shock from yesterday. Morning, Alan. So the myth of the legend says that we need to buy low and sell high. Here's a piece of advice for you. Good advice. Definitely need to do that. It's exactly what I do. I'm going to stop out on that. I've only got a single short on at the moment, but it looks like I'm going to stop out on that one. Morning, Gordy. Right, so looking at the buyer scorecard, let's have a whiz through all the buys and sells at the moment. From sentiment perspective, again, on the sentiment, I'm going to look at the +2s and -2s rather than the +6s and -6s, because I honestly think that these figures that we've got showing for COT at the moment, although they are 3 weeks out of date because they haven't released the figures at the CFTC, I still believe these are probably pretty much right, because since we've had all the news that we've had on COT, since we had the last release of COT, all the news we've had on COT has been kind of in the direction. So we've had nothing but neutral to sad news from the Aussie. The CAD, that one may have changed. The CAD is one that I think we might have had a difference on. Swiss franc, yeah, we've had a weak Swiss franc since then. The euro is still being bullish. The pound is still being bearish. The New Zealand dollar, that might have changed as well, actually. So thinking about it, actually, the CAD and the New Zealand dollar, I think we might have more sellers on board. The yen is a bit of a question mark. And the US dollar, nothing but good news. I can't see any reason why we shouldn't have much more longing on that. So I think with the sentiment, when you're looking at it, you can probably take this as read as it will be right. But some of these you might find a +3s instead of +4s, or -3s instead of -4s. So it's difficult. But if you look at the retail +2s and -2s, these are the strongest buys and sells at the minute. So thanks for the follow, whoever that was, Ray. And somebody else yesterday subscribed. I can't say his name because it's in Russian or Greek or something that I can't actually read the letters on. One of those languages where you've got a capital A that is actually got a square top. And it isn't actually a capital A, and it's halfway down in the word and things, and accents above letters. I'm not good at languages. Nodding, David. So yeah, these are the obviously the big buys and the big sells at the moment. So we'll have a whiz through those as well. Acrylic Alphabets, that's the one. Yeah, don't. This is the guy that subscribed yesterday. I couldn't even start to say welcome to the stream because I have got no clue how to even Amberpax Cancer. That's my best attempt at that one. Welcome to the stream, Amberpax. That's even a word. Right, anyway, enough of that. Right, we haven't got stopped out in the DAX. Well, I haven't got stopped out in the DAX. This propulsion seems to be holding well this morning. We've really not got any buyers on board, so it's going to give up at some point. We're going to get a break. So if you want to if you're not doing the opening range breakout today and you want to trade this, there's your high, there's your low. Stick a pending, buy or sell, and you can't go far wrong. We're in a 25, pretty much 30-minute range, very, very tight. So when this breaks, it's going to break with a bit of vigor. Pound odd is just approaching that resistance area. So if you are in the pound odd, you've got a potential resistance coming up. So let's go through the buy scorecard quickly, first of all. So buys, we got US dollar CAD and US dollar Swiss. So looking at these two, see if there's any opportunities on them. US dollar CAD, the buy opportunity on the hourly. Did we get one? Not quite yesterday. Didn't quite get to RSI extension. So there was your buy opportunity in the support rectangle, really, for adding on to that, which is this resistance. So if you did the mean reversion like I did, that's where I got in and that's where I got out on that ADR reversal. That's where basically we were expecting the bounce at the support, and it's starting to bounce now. So potentially, I don't see why we shouldn't run those highs. Nice bearish engulfing going on. We've got 25 seconds left on this candle. So nice bearish engulfing. This next candle might be the candle that they run with. Don't think we're getting any news, any volume on tick strike, but EU law plays a very tiny and restricted role. Yeah. No other news this morning. Okay, so nice bearish engulfing going in there. We have had obviously one before and it went nowhere. So we'll see. We need this this should flush fast in the next minute. If this hasn't gone, I would say we're probably not going to. We're just going to stick within the range again. What I don't want to do is get tagged in on these three positions and come back into the range. So Amdrak Saihan something. Is that what that is? Is that how you pronounce that? Amdrak. It doesn't even look anything like Amdrak. It's AMBAPAX. I just have no idea. Hang on, can I copy and paste it? I can't, can I? See, this isn't going to say it right, is it? Ampass. No, that's not right. that's not right at all. Anyway, forget that. This bloke's going to come on the stream this afternoon in the New York session. He's going to be like, he's going to watch the replay and go, "What the hell are they talking about me for?" Right. So struggling down here. So US dollar CAD buys. So if you do get any more sort of pullbacks, you've just had a reversal alert this morning on the 15 there. So which has been a nice retest. So I'll definitely be looking for that propulsion. But I'll be looking to break out the highs, get an ADR, not necessarily get an ADR today. There's no news catalyst to drive that. Although we have got the CAD, haven't we, this afternoon? Oh, of course we have. Yeah, sorry. No, we have. We've got the CAD this afternoon. It's CAD GDP. So yeah, you will get a catalyst on this afternoon. If we get a decent GDP figure on the CAD, this is probably going to come down. So we might have an entry opportunity this afternoon. However, if the GDP comes out as expected or a miss, we may get a pump. So there is an opportunity on that at the moment. US dollar Swiss. Again, pullback nicely here. That's a huge ADR rally we had on Friday. We've pulled back into the accumulation before that. Yeah, so if you look at this on the 4 hour, that's a propulsion gap. Oh, no, it's not. No, sorry, it's not because of that wick. We had a little propulsion gap in there, but that candle was not bigger than that. The body of that candle was not bigger than that move. So just testing the lows on the DAX, trying to. So yeah, US dollar Swiss, no reason why this shouldn't continue long. We are just running into propulsion on the 4 hour at the moment, but it did just about get an alert yesterday, but it was blink and you miss it style. So you would have had to get in on that V shape yesterday, which is pretty much where we are now. So in theory, if you missed that entry yesterday, if you get in now, you're pretty much exactly on the same price. So assuming that propulsion gap is going to fail, that's a pretty nice long on the US dollar Swiss. Yeah. So US dollar Swiss, US dollar CAD, US dollar yen. We've massively extended on the US dollar yen. Again, all these yens are up to you on them. I'm trying to short them as much as possible, the yens, because I think there's going to be more intervention coming very shortly. So although these are all showing as buys, the main reason they're showing as buys is because we've got positive inflation and positive interest rate and positive interest rate change on the majority, because the interest rates on the yen are negative 0.10, and they have been forever. So they don't change your interest rate. So it's difficult to take interest rates into account. It's also fairly difficult to take inflation into account as well, and these kind of cancel each other out. So the yens I'm not going to cover because you can trade them either way, but the moves are quite aggressive when we do get the moves. So I'm not really that interested in them at the moment. So that's US dollar Swiss and US dollar CAD. Euro Swiss is also a nice long. The Euro Swiss is quite a tight pair. So the ADR on it is only 41. It's already gone, missed it. So Euro Swiss was a long, and it is a long, and it's gone long. So it's been a long forever. I did a little short on it, just because I do things different. There's another one there. Look, these are an ADR hits. Oh, Jesus. Dax, what are you doing? Bullish engulfing. This thing's a mess today. Leave it alone if I were you. It's just a mess. I'm going to stop out on that short. Saying that, it's just doesn't quite want to take me out, does it? So it's had a few attempts now, and it's not quite taking me out. This is an absolute mess. There we go. So I'm taking out that first short. If this does break long from here, we're going to be running straight into 2 propulsion gaps. So we'll see what happens, but it's not very convincing in either direction, is it, at the moment? I think you need quite wide stops on this today if you're going to trade it. So Euro Swiss looking for pullbacks and long entries. Didn't get one yesterday. Last pullback entry was there. So nothing particularly interesting on Euro Swiss at the moment. New Zealand dollar CAD. Again, if you're going to get into anything New Zealand dollar CAD related, bear in mind that we've got the New Zealand dollar rates this afternoon. You're going to stop me out and go back down again, aren't you? You're really annoying. So we've got these propulsion gaps up here. None of these are tested. That one's tested, but these aren't tested. So there's potential for a nice rally up here, but obviously, as you can see, it's not got any strength. The New Zealand dollar has started to weaken quite considerably over the last couple of weeks. So again, this is why I really want to see what the COT positioning is on this, but we've got this massive propulsion gap, which was based off of news. So this was the interest rates in the unemployment figures in the US. That's what caused that drop and strengthen the Canadian dollar. I think this is kind of a fundamental news event for the US dollar, having these interest rates, having this unemployment figure so strong based on the interest rates. So I get the feeling that we might not come back and test this. It's going to take quite a lot of weakness in the US dollar and therefore the CAD to drive this back up there. But if the CAD gets bad news today on the GDP, then obviously there is a possibility that we might get a strong push. So it is extended. Technically, it's a long, but if you look at why it's along the New Zealand dollar CAD, it's mainly based on COT. So if you put this -2 sentiment at the moment, everybody is longing it at the moment, so you should be shorting it. And obviously you can see that's exactly what's happened. It's coming down. If you take that away and everybody starts to flip short on it, we become a 0. That adds that up to a +6. So it's still a long, but it's really based, 4 of that is based off the Canadian and New Zealand positioning. And New Zealand is one of the pairs that I think we may have had a change in COT, because the New Zealand dollar has weakened considerably in the last couple of weeks. We haven't had COT report for 3 weeks. If this is sitting back down there, that changes all the COT figures for New Zealand dollar crosses, and that will be New Zealand dollar CAD being one of those. So I'm not convinced. It's a weak buy at the moment. It is extended. We have had a very, very, very long run, but you know, we've had profit take moves in every single move down. That's obviously the fundamental shift on the unemployment rates. But we've had profit take moves on everything. So it's due a profit take now. It's extended. It was due yesterday. We didn't get it. So potentially what you're doing here is you're putting in a W pattern. And that could be caused by the news. So that could be the catalyst that drives this back up again. But again, you know, it's a 50-50 shot. We haven't got a clue whether this GDP is going to come out plus or minus, have we? They're forecasting a 0. So if we get a 0.1, it's positive. If we get a 0, it's neutral to positive. If we get a -1, it's negative. If we get a -1, New Zealand CAD is going to go up. So, you know, difficult to tell. So there is an opportunity there for a long, but, you know, you are fighting at the moment, and you're fighting sentiment. Yeah, New Zealand dollar CAD is a negative. So, you know, this is why when we ignore these, because we've got COT bias, institutional bias long, we've got retail also long, which means we want to be shorting it. And the institutions will go against retail before they're ready to make their move, because they need liquidity to move it. Therefore, it's coming down, but it should be going long. So it's a tricky one, really tricky one. It's going to be based on the news today. So up to you if you want to take it. If you don't take it, it's very, very difficult to find any support. Look at this. There's a million support resistance levels in this thing. Constant support resistance. Where the hell is this going to turn on the way down? Your guess is as good as mine. It could come all the way back down to here without stopping. No idea. Haven't got a clue. So it's not the best buy in the world, is it? Going over to sells, Aussie dollar CAD. Aussie dollar CAD, I'd much rather be selling Aussie dollar CAD. So if you look at the buyer scorecard on the Aussie dollar CAD, we've got no retail no COT positioning on this one. They're both going the same way, so they cancel each other out. So therefore, there's no advantage in going long or short from an institutional basis. However, retail are all long it at the moment, so you want to be looking for short opportunities on it. And obviously, as you can see, it's been doing nothing but coming down. So shorts on it, basically, this area here that I've got highlighted is where I'm interested in shorting. So it have to be an ADR hit. So if we get Canadian dollar having slightly negative GDP report, GDP figures, we will get a push. That's where I'll be shorting it. So I'll be looking at shorting any ADR hits today. We're running into a massive support. Yeah, there's no way the first time we test this, we're not going to get a low limits trigger. There are limit orders triggering and sitting here, lots of them. So we're going to get a reaction there. So that ADR reversal will be really good if we can get it today. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, everything short against the US dollar. So New Zealand, US at the moment, obviously coming down very, very nicely. I got stuck in a buy on this one. I got out of it, but I got stuck in one. Yeah, really, really like this one as a short, but you can't get into it at the moment. So again, very, very similar situation. Lovely support here. Will act as resistance. First test of this propulsion area, ADR, look to short it. We may get that movement off of the US dollar as well. DAX is going long. Yep, long DAX. So first stop for the DAX is that propulsion there, pre-market. And then obviously that's the open. So again, it's a really tricky one, this DAX. So if you look at where we are from Friday, we're an inside bar from Friday, and now we're an inside bar. So you would expect on an inside bar, inside bar, to get a test of the high or the low of the previous candle. We seem to have rejected the move down so far today. So you have to sort of look at retesting the high from yesterday. So obviously you can get an inside. You get continuous inside bars, obviously. At some point, you won't get an inside bar because it's just not possible for the market to go flatline. So therefore, you have to get a breakout. That forms what we call a symmetrical triangle. So if you look at this on a lower time frame, you'll have a symmetrical triangle pattern. Just show the last one. Where are we? Last signal. Yeah. So what we're forming is a symmetrical triangle because we've got a big move followed by smaller moves. In fact, H1's probably not the best time frame to look at this on. Let's look at it on 5:15. On there, no. Yeah, the maths isn't quite right on. It's probably the closest you're going to get. I'll draw it on. Symmetrical triangle patterns indicator works off of specific fib ratios. So you're not really going to get it. But this is Friday's candle. Yeah. So what we're doing at the moment is we're contracting down. So now we've rejected that low and we're pushing back up. So we've got the high there. The previous day's high and low is there. Yeah. And then you've got today's low is there, which is inside that low. And then if we put in a lower high than that, we're going to get a third inside bar. Yeah. Eventually, one of those is going to get tested and you're going to get a breakout. You never know which one it's going to be, obviously. So that's what we've got in play at the moment. So looking for a test of one of those to basically put in a higher low. So we've got a low, a higher low, a higher low. If we're going to put market structure in bullish, we need to put in a higher high. So it would be higher low and higher high. If we're not going to test that area, that is where we're going. So it's what have we got in our way before we get there. So we've got the initial open propulsion move, which was bearish, where we'll find some sellers potentially trying to hold the market back down because they started a move to the downside immediately as the market opened or pre-market opened. Failing that, we've got resistance at yesterday's high, which is ADR, and that is our target, yesterday's high. To breach that means we're putting in a lower high and a higher high. Yeah, a higher low rather than a higher high. So that would be target today, yesterday's high, which is quite a fair old whack. We've got 133 point move to the upside potentially. So depending on obviously what you want to do with a stop loss, you can either play long term and go for the run, or as I'm doing, you'll tighten up your stop as we go and trail, and obviously get taken out when we drop. But so far, so good. Where was I? Aussie dollar CAD, New Zealand dollar, US dollar we covered. Pound New Zealand. We've covered this one already, haven't we? This is a massive extension, 4-hour extension, 1-hour extension, embedded. Yeah, lovely short. Yeah, it's a short. It's a -5. COT -5. Fundamentals slightly negative. The only problem we've got at the moment is retail are short on it, which means their liquidity is at the high side, which means it's pushing. So as soon as we get that stopping and we get retail flip back the other way, that will become a -7 to -9 strong sell. So how long that's going to take, don't know. But yeah, I'd be looking to start getting into a short position on this one, ready for that drop. This is incredibly strong at the moment. The reason this is the strongest mover out of all of the pounds is because of this weakness on the New Zealand. Yeah, and this gives a really good example of currency strength. Yeah, when you've got something that's got a really negative bias and something with a really positive bias, any type of news is going to stretch it twice as far. So again, if we get an ADR hit to the upside on this one, good entry short. So like that as a short, it's nicely extended, and it'll come down. That's all you're looking for. Pullback, yeah. So buyers, profit take, buy, 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 profit take, buy. That's what we're going to get on, profit take. Looks good. But overall, long term, I don't see this having enough strength to challenge these highs. I might be wrong, but the New Zealand dollar is going to have to be bloody weak, isn't it, for us to get all the way up there? So I see that coming back down at some point. That's stalling a little bit at the propulsion gap. Euro US dollar and pound US dollar, both strong sells based on US dollar strength. If you look at these two, we've got a -1 and a +1, -4 on the pound US. The euro is a long, so therefore that cancels itself out on COT. So both of these are shorts for good reasons. Either you've got COT bias, you've got fundamentals, or you've got retail. So all looking good for short. So any opportunity you can get on the euro US dollar or the pound US dollar for a short would be good. So you had one yesterday, actually, which was a nice short on that. But, this is a pullback potentially on a longer term short move. So 4 hour, I don't think you got an extension anywhere near now. So difficult to tell on this one where to get in or how to get in on it. It's a tricky one because the euro is actually going to be strong as well. So when you get the euro strength coming through with the US dollar strength, you're obviously going to get the two fighting, which means you're going to go into sort of a range. So out of these two, the pound US dollar would be the one that I would concentrate on shorting. Coming up into propulsion gap at the moment, we had an extension on the RSI yesterday, which you had a small profit take, but you got a lovely propulsion target to the downside, yeah, which will get tested. So that would be your target. God, it's really pushing today, isn't it, this pound? They're on a mission. They're really loving this Northern Ireland deal. All reaching up into areas. There you go. Pound New Zealand, average weekly range just been hit. So there's your weekly range hit. We're only on Tuesday. We've hit the weekly range. Pound US dollar, again, nice propulsion area. Might find some selling activity starting to come in here. It's 4 days old, that propulsion, 5 days old. So it is an older one, but still, this is where we tend to find it happening. Failing that, if it was to get to ADR today, that's resistance. So, again, oh. I just got something weird going on my laptop. So yeah, if we do get anywhere near ADR, you've got a beautiful resistance there, and there's going to be pending orders sitting there waiting to short it. Yeah, that was off straight out of that propulsion move there. So that's a really good selling spot. And then obviously that will establish our range. So that's good for shorts, pound US dollar. Aussie New Zealand and Aussie US strongest sells at the moment. COT bias is a negative. Aussie US, they're all buying Aussie US at the moment. I think we might be a bit late on it, to be honest. Yeah, but it's they're buying the crap out of it at the moment. Every time it's coming down, they're buying it, stops, buying it, stops, buying it, stops. You wouldn't really buy it there, would you? Buying it, stops, heading to yesterday's low. So Just shorts, basically. Hard to get into, very hard to get into. You just got to kind of hit the sell button, but you know damn well if you hit the sell button when you're extended, there's more chance of a profit take move. So I would look for these propulsion gaps that we formed on Friday, and that resistance or that to act as areas to get in. So this is the propulsion gap that started that Friday move. Accumulation, propulsion move down in London, and then New York just accumulated down at the bottom, and then we started again. So push up and short it from here or from here. So your entries today, if you can get them, would be in propulsion. You're not going to get an extension on RSI today. The only way you get an extension on RSI is if it pulls back up into this area and you get an ADR. So if you get an ADR hit, short it. So basically all these, this is the point of the buyer scorecard, is to say, right, I've got an RSI extension to the upside on Euro Yen. Should I take it? No. I've got an RSI extension to the upside on Pound US Dollar. Should I take it? Yes. Got an ADR extension to the upside, New Zealand US. Should I take it? Yes. Yeah. So, ADR reversals, RSI extensions in line with expected direction long term. That's what we're looking for entering positions. So that's all of those, all good. So Aussie US is your strongest sell at the moment. Combined sentiment, you're going to find it's pretty similar. Aussie US sell. Aussie CAD is a sell. Aussie Swiss. So everything against the Swiss franc at the moment seems to be a sell. So Aussie Swiss and CAD Swiss, looking at those two. Sells. CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss is a sell. So the sell move started yesterday on that one. Had an ADR hit. I took on that one short, which I got out of. But yeah, CAD Swiss is a short, but CAD news at 130. So be a little careful if you're going to take that one. Big Papa, if you have a 20k trading capital now, how would you allocate your fund across your strategy stroke EAs? I would probably put it, well, it's up to you. And obviously, my strategies, H4, M15, H1, M5, and ADR reversals. So I would allocate it on those as you see fit. Take them when they come up. So we got a US dollar yen. We just got an RSI extension alert. Yeah, extended on US dollar yen. Stick the reversal alert CA on there on M5 and let it take the next short. It's already got one. Take the next short on M15 then. Simple as that. It's very, very simple, my strategies. Use the market reversal alert CA to get into trades. Somebody asked me this question yesterday. Not yesterday, day before. Or the weekend. No, it was at the weekend. They were confused because I run my EAs on a VPS. And I leave them pretty much unattended, and they just get into trades for me and get out of trades for me. In the bootcamp, what I say is when you get an alert on the RSI dashboard, for example, on the US dollar yen, on the 4-hour RSI extension, have a look at it, see if you like the eyes, see if you fancy the trade, see if it's at decent levels and you want to get in. Then go and put the reversal alerts EA on there, wherever it is, there, and get in on the next short and set it up as you want. Yeah. But that's not what I do at the moment. Basically, I've got the EA running on a number of pairs, and it's just getting in on either 4-hour RSI extensions, ADR hits to the upside, or H1 M5 extensions. I've got 3 accounts running at the moment. Each of them is running a different strategy. So if you've got 20k, you could put it on 10k one on 10k on the other. So you could run ADR reversals with 10k, and you could run either H1 M5, or, to be honest, I'm running H4 M5 at the moment. So I'm actually running H4 M5 rather than H4 M15, because I've found that if you look at US dollar yen, this is a prime example. H4 RSI extension, M15 entry is 136, so let's call it 136,200. Yeah. There's your RSI. There's your entry on M15. Look at the M5 entry. It's up here. So a much faster entry. Is that right? Yeah. So 136,205 all the way down here. So there's your M15 entry. There is your M5 entry. See the difference? But I'm getting in basically faster on the M5 time frame. My distance between trades is still the same. It's still half an ADR. But what I'm finding is using the M5 time frame rather than the M15, my ADRs are much closer together. So where every now and again on M15, we'll get a push like this, right? And this will get an alert down here, but it will be too close to take that trade. The M5 one, however, will be better spaced. So I'm actually coming to the conclusion, there you go, Euro UN ADR extension as well. I'm actually coming to the conclusion that M5 is the best entry time frame, regardless of whether you use the H1 or the H4 for the RSI extension. Obviously, I'm testing all of this at the moment live, but it's working really well. So, Jacob, do you use fund accounts for position trading? If so, how do you manage their drawdown rules? I'm not, no. The funded accounts I use, I'm either scalping or I'm using opening range breakouts at the moment. I am also using a support resistance strategy, which I'm testing, which I'm using on prop, and actually it's working really well. But it's a longer term. So the trouble is you can't control the drawdown, as you know. You can. I mean, you can. I've passed prop with position trading. I passed in January, didn't I? Was it the beginning of this month? I passed stage 1, position trading, 80% position trading, 20% opening range breakout. And then phase 2, I blew it. I just got into too much drawdown. And the opening range breakout EA that I was running at the same time as well made a loss the same day, and it blew it. So if you're going to position trade with a prop firm, it's possible to do, but the problem is you're going to find the drawdown, you're going to have to be on top of it really, really well. So what you're going to need to do, there's a euro pair, which I think has got drawdown control. No. What's this? H1. You're going to need to do drawdown control fairly quick with the EA. So 3/4 of an ADR, start doing drawdown control. But if you get a squeeze like the pound odd, yeah, so if you get a 3-day squeeze like this, and you got in on this RSI extension here, for example, you're going to be in 3, about to get in your 4th trade. If you haven't done drawdown control on that one, and possibly on that one, you're going to find the drawdown is getting uncomfortable, 1.5% to 2%. It's not uncomfortable for me normally, but uncomfortable for a prop firm. If you've got 4 trades running and each of them goes into 1.5% of drawdown, you've blown the account. 1.5% drawdown's nothing, is it? But from a prop firm perspective, it's a lot. So you either have to do drawdown control fast, half an ADR to an ADR, start scaling out. So basically, the idea would be get in again, half an ADR apart, but do a 30% drawdown on that first position as the second position's taken. So you're bringing your average up and you're stopping that going into drawdown if it pushes further. I haven't tested this, but that's what I would probably want to do. In fact, that's not a bad experiment to try, is it? So you'd set the EA up to do drawdown control very, very quickly. Come on. I've got a really slow connection to this this VPS from here. from my laptop, this connection's lightning fast. I don't know why the connection is so slow from here. But it is. Oh. Oh, no, there we go. It's thinking about it. I don't know why that took so long. This is running on a demo at the moment because I'm just testing drawdown limits. So this is actually one of the tests I'm doing. So this is testing drawdown limits with a 3/4 ADR. And I'm testing this for potentially position trading on the hourly time frame with a hedging strategy. And I was waiting for it, basically. I've been waiting for this to get me into 1 to 1.5% drawdown on something so I could see how quickly it got there. What it's actually done is just banked 13 grand. It is in 22% of drawdown now, so it's way bigger than it's, which I knew was going to happen. It's not, this isn't here to make money. This is here to test. So something like the pound New Zealand, for example. Where are we? Pound New Zealand. Where's pound New Zealand? Yeah. So what you would have to do is on your drawdown control, where I'm doing per trade. So you would have your additional entries. So your distance in ADR as a percentage, have that set to 0.5%, which is fine. That's the norm, what I normally use. So somewhere between 0.5%, half an ADR to 1 ADR. And then your drawdown control, set that to minus 0.5 there. And what's going to happen is as soon as you go half an ADR in drawdown, it's going to scale out of a third of that initial position that you took. Yeah, so it will scale out of a third of that when it gets here, and it will enter a new position on the next reversal at that level roughly as well. So what we're saying is, if you're going to run on prop, if the initial position is wrong, no problem. Just go against us and get the second position on, but keep on top of this. Take a third loss. And if it pushes another half an ADR, you're going to take another third loss. So it will scale out there. It will scale out there. If it pushes again, it will scale out. So this will be down to less than half of the original position, which is going to keep your drawdown low on a squeeze. The other thing also, if you're going to run on prop, is you need to keep your exposure low. So you need to concentrate on keeping that exposure down to, I would say, a single. Take 1 CAD, 1 odd, 1 Swiss, 1 yen, 1 New Zealand, 1 US, 1 euro, 1 pound. That's it. Otherwise, if you take 2 and the Aussie dollar squeezes against you, you've got 2 things potentially going into 1 to 1.5%. Yeah, that's 3% on one instrument that is squeezing for a couple of days. That's over half of your daily loss limit allocation. You can't do that. The other thing you can do as well, again, this is all stuff that needs to be really tested on prop, but you can, instead of using what I normally use for my risk profile, so I'm using 0.2 here, but I normally use 0.25 on half an ADR. You could use 0.15 on half an ADR. Yeah, so you're getting in with slightly smaller position sizing initially. That will give you a little bit more breathing room and you won't get into squeezes quite as fast. But the problem you're going to have with prop is you've got to pass in 30 days. And that is the killer. So position trading will work on prop. If you have a good week to start with, you'll probably bank 3 to 5% in that week, maybe. However, if you have a bad week, you can blow it. So it's tricky. It's a tricky balancing act, and I haven't found the right sort of figures yet to use for prop, which is why I haven't done position trading on prop. Morning, Stevie. Right, so looking at these biases, Aussie dollar, US dollar we've looked at. Aussie dollar CAD, be aware obviously of news on that one. Aussie dollar Swiss and the CAD Swiss, difficult to get into those two. They're coming down. Retail sentiment says you should be shorting it, so it's coming down. Pound New Zealand is a mixed sentiment, so I wouldn't touch that. So New Zealand dollar, US dollar, looking for shorts. Now this one is coming down obviously at the minute. So looking for shorts on this. We looked at this one earlier, didn't we? That's where we want to be going on that. So anything up to there and then potentially dropping for shorts on that one. But it's obviously coming down. Swiss yen as a long. Already gone. Coming up into resistance though. So you might get a bounce here and a pullback. Yeah. Everybody's short on this basically, which is why it's going up. Yeah. So everybody's short on it. Stop order. Everybody's short. Stop order. Everybody's short. Stop order. They're still shorting the crap out of it. Stops are up there. So get in down here somewhere. Long. Yeah. Swiss yen. Mixed sentiment on that one. Euro New Zealand long, pound odd long. So that's already gone. So again, pullbacks. Pound odd. Already gone. Pound yen. It's the trouble with these sentiments. It's difficult to get into them. Pound yen's already gone. Mixed. And euro odd and euro yen as longs. These are the best longs at the moment. Euro odd, euro yen. Yeah, so these sentiments are difficult to get into. This is the trouble I'm finding running the sentiment EA as well. So the sentiment EA is running on here. It's banked 1.3%. So when it banks regularly, it's banking lovely profit regularly. I've got it set to scale out at the moment. I'm not sure exactly how to set the scale outs on it. So this is why it's running on here, so I can see how it performs with different settings. But it banks regularly. Nice, straight to target trades. But what I'm finding is it's missing loads, because obviously with the sentiment, what we're doing is we're trading against the sentiment. So at the moment, the market is long, so we're looking for shorts. The market was long there, right? So we got short. We didn't get out. So I'm thinking with these, again here, look, market was 93% long. So we took a short. The market there was 86% short. Perfect. So this is what we're getting, these intraday drops, because obviously what they're doing is they're taking the liquidity, then they're enticing the new longs in to take the liquidity again. So what I'm finding is I'm missing entries because we're only taking yesterday's high, previous day's high, and last week's high levels. Well, their previous day's low, yesterday's low, last week's high, last week's low. So I'm missing entries. I'm not getting in on these big, strong moves when they kick in. So I'm looking at this now. I did a bit of analysis on this yesterday. I think we need to look at another entry method on it. Maybe taking an entry at the open of the day, because looking at this one, right? Sentiment on this is the entire market is short euro yen. Yeah, it's been short euro yen for days. What's it been doing? Whack. So if we were to just take an entry at start of day and then close at end of day, or with 0.25% profit or something like that, entry at open day. Yeah, because what we're finding is every time we've got sentiment saying every time everybody is short on it, what we're doing is we're getting bull candles every day, which is what we're expecting, isn't it? What I'm asking the EA to do is entries on extensions, because I'm just used to mean reversion. And obviously this isn't a mean reversion. This is a breakout trend strategy, isn't it, really, against sentiment. So I'm thinking maybe the entry conditions that I'm using aren't actually suited. So pound Swiss is a good example. It's in drawdown at the moment. Where the hell's a pound Swiss? There. Yeah. So the market has been short on this. Now, this is a little bit of a different one because this is a news event. We've got news which is driving this, which is why this is in drawdown. But look at all the sentiment entries here. When we initially got in, 70% of the market was long. So we took a short, didn't get out. And then we got a news event, which went against us. And obviously news and sentiment have nothing to do with each other at all. As soon as that news event happens, look what happened to sentiment. It all changed. They went back to neutral. It's 51% longs and shorts, 53s. So it was neutral. Therefore, we go sideways because there's no liquidity pools, either high or low. So there's no advantage in the market going in either direction. Then all of a sudden we shift sentiment again, short. So it starts to go long. I'm short on it. I should be the opposite direction because sentiment has shifted. So I'm struggling with the strategy is spot on. Yeah, we know it works. They're short, the market goes long. They're long, the market goes short. We know that is the case. The difficulty I'm having is how to enter. I thought it was going to be better to get in at the lows and the highs, and they work beautifully when they are achieved. When sentiment shifts, however, that's what I'm struggling with. How do you change direction on sentiment shift? Do we just take a loss? And if so, at what point? And then obviously we're going to flip when the sentiment flips, which means in here, we would have been flipping. So I don't think this is ready yet. It's making a profit. Yeah, not a problem. And like we said yesterday, when we looked at this yesterday morning, it was in minus what, $900. And I said over here, didn't I? I said, those two are going to hit today. That's no problem at all. They're going to bank. And we banked $300, no problem. We're in 750 negative today. Euro pound is probably going to hit today. I would say probably US dollar Swiss is going to hit today. CAD Swiss has got a chance of hitting today as well. So that will transfer 1,500 over onto that. That will become a plus. But it's not quite fine-tuned enough. So I want to test day entries. So I'm just trying to find one that's, there you go. So longs, yeah. So we want to be going long on New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Look, so this is programmed, and of yesterday as well, programmed to take yesterday's low. We missed it. Yeah, we are going to get in on last week's low, so it's going to take a trade long here. Sorry, the market is long. Sorry, no. I'm totally the wrong way around. The market is long, so we want to be getting in short. It's coming down, look. So there's one hit. So we got in there. That's a good example, look. So there, that's a 28. So we had 72% of the market was long. So we got in short. Yeah, beautiful, played out in days. But what I think this should be doing is capturing that and getting out. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. We could have had an opportunity to get in short, get out, get in short, get out, get in short, get out, get in short, get out. So what we're taking is yesterday's high and previous day's high entries. I am taking at the moment. And I'm missing loads of entries. Yeah, that was the high. We never got to it. So I never missed. I got out. I never missed it. I missed the trade. Never got in. Then that was the high. We never touched it. Beautiful trade. There's your high. Never touched it. Beautiful trade. There's your high. Nowhere near it. Yeah. There's yesterday's high. Didn't get there. So I'm thinking what we need to do is literally market open, give it an hour, get in Asia, and then get out in London or New York when in profit. Yeah. And then if we do push up and take yesterday's high, for example, second entry at an ADR distance. Because I'm watching these sentiments play out like clockwork, like Euro odd. Look, I mean, it's just, look at it. Retail are idiots. We know that. Euro odd. Where are we? Oh, I can't. It's not on my Euro odd. Yeah, 90% of the market is short, and they've been short for days. Look at it. They've been short on this for days. So they've been short. They're getting in short, right? Liquidity's there. They're getting in short. Liquidity's there. Dead. Push up. Accumulation. Short. Liquidity. Push up. Entice shorts. Liquidity. Push up. Entice shorts. Liquidity. Push up. They're still short. 90% of the guys are short at the moment. This thing's going up like a steam train. They're all bloody shorting it. Nubs. 90% of the term. Liquidity is there. But we're missing it. I'm missing these because I'm waiting for them to take the liquidity at the lows, entice those shorts in really strongly, and then go and grab it. But they're not going that far. They're not given the opportunity. So enter, exit sometime, enter, exit sometime, enter. That one, that was yesterday's low there. So you didn't get to it. Enter, exit sometime. 3 beautiful trades against retail sentiment. But that's, at the moment, the only real way I can see logically to program this to get in is just say 1 a.m. Asia. So we're missing that horrible swap, big wick thing that goes on in Asia at the swap. 1 o'clock, just literally get in. So yeah, I'm working on this. Unfortunately, I was looking to try and release this at the end of the week, but I don't think this is optimal. Yes, it's profitable, but it could be so much more profitable. So much more profitable. I'm just, I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are on it, but it's just trying to find a way to milk it. And then obviously the other problem, which I'm struggling to find a solution for apart from just scaling out, is what to do when you're in the wrong position and sentiment changes against you. So this one's fine. Like I say, this one will probably pay out today, this CAD Swiss. They're all long. It's coming down. So I'd be very surprised if we don't take previous day's low out. Depends on the news, obviously, today. But this one will just come out with a nice $500 profit. But, get in, get out, get in, get out, get in. Now, that one, you wouldn't have got an out on. So you would have got in there and got out there. Yeah. Manually, I can do all of this, no problem. I'm just trying to find out the best way to deal with all of this with an EA. Just to try and automate this as much as possible, this process. So open to suggestions on it. But, this is gold, this is. It's just finding a way to get in. And I'm just coming to the conclusion that I'm trying to overcomplicate something very simple. Everybody on EuroOdd. So I come in here in the morning, I turn on my computer, I look for the latest sentiment, whenever the latest sentiment is, 757. That will update to 857. So that was 90%. Remember that Euro Swiss? EuroOdd rather. Now it's 91%. So even more people, even more people longing it. Everybody's trying to mean revert. This is what retail do wrong all the time. And this is the whole premise of the bootcamp. You can't pick the top or the bottom. They're trying their hardest to pick the top because they want to catch that move. And they've been picking the top for the last 3 or 4 days and they've failed. And they're still trying. They're stopped out. They're losing 10%. They're still doing it. So, my conclusion is open this up, refresh it, obviously, every morning, come in here and go, right, EuroOdd, sell, or rather buy in this case. Yeah, and I'm going to be buying here somewhere because that's when I'll wake up. And then it's a case of, right, we've gone up, get out. Don't get greedy, just take profit. And it's almost a case of what you want to do with it is use like either the hourly or the 4-hourly time frame. Yeah. And on candle close, so use what's called an in-profit close. So what happens is, and this is an old trick of Larry Williams. This is one of his, if you look at, if you read Long-Term Secrets to Short-Term Trading, this one. This is in his book. This is what's called an in-profit close or a profit in-profit candle close. So what you do is you get in, and the first, so let's say we've gone long here, right? So we've gone long there on that candle. It pushed down, it pushed up to break even, and then it pushed up. When this candle closes, you get out and you take whatever you got. Doesn't matter, right? We're expecting retail sentiment is saying you need to be longing the euro odd because 91% of the market is shorting it. The liquidity is at the highs, therefore we're going to get a push. So all you do is you get in, and on the first 4-hour candle, you get out. The first 4-hour candle that's in profit. So if this was to go down and down and down, you would enter and enter and enter and probably scale out and scale out and scale out to keep drawdown under control. And then this would push up and you would have a break-even average somewhere, and it would push up and then you would exit. You take whatever you get. And either retail sentiment is going to be right straight away. And this is what I'm finding. I'm missing all of these one-hit wonders. I'm missing them all because I can't get the pullback entry. It doesn't pull back. It just bloody goes because the retail or crowd are short. So it goes, oh, let's go long, boys. And we miss them. So that's my job today, because I spent a good couple of hours yesterday doing analysis on all trades taken in here. And I went through all the pairs and I plotted them on the chart, and I was like, why? I'm getting greedy. This is the thing. I'm getting greedy. I'm going for a 0.5% and I'm getting it. No problem. I'm getting it. But what I'm missing is lots and lots and lots of little profits constantly every single day while I'm in this big one. And that's what I want to achieve. And you never get another entry. So that's what I'm finding. You know, all these 0.5% are lovely, but look how long they're taking to play out. 24th, 23rd, that was a 1 day. That one I got in on the 23rd, got out on the 24th. That one I got in on the 20th and got out on the 24th. So that took 4 days to get that. That took 1 day. That took 1 day. There's one there. That one I got out on the 27th. I got in on the 22nd. That took 5 days to get that $500. This one this morning, 22nd, out on the 27th. Yeah. So, but in between that move on that euro yen, look, wherever that euro yen is, let's try and find it. Look at how much money I've missed. There. So there's your entry. There's my exit. But if I'd have got in there, I'd have got out there on a 4-hour. If I'd have got in there, I'd have got out somewhere in here on a 4-hour. If I'd have got in there, I got out somewhere here on a 4-hour. If I got in here, I got out here today on a 4-hour. If I got in on that one, I'd have been in drawdown. Second day, I'd have been out potentially. But what would have probably happened is I'd have got out on that trade and that trade would have scaled out. Got in on that one, got out on those two there. So I mean, missed profit, 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 profit. Missed the whole bloody lot. So this is not optimized. The strategy is correct. The sentiment is correct. The trades are all playing out. The entry criteria though is just missing the money. So I'm going to work on this afternoon. The problem is obviously with the sentiment EA, it's not back testable because the sentiment is live and fed on an hourly basis. So you can't back test this. So I've got to restructure and forward test, unfortunately. Hello, Ivan Coat. Franco, testing your 2472 MA settings, added the 9, which acts as an entry trigger for me. The mixed but good results so far still. Testing 1 hour seems to be the sweet spot. So you're using 2472 on the 4-hour. That's not a good example. And you're using a 9 EMA to enter in line with the 2472. You will find that if you drop down to M15, when you cross, I'll show you. Put a bit of E on there. Yeah. So that there, right, when you cross to go long, in line with the 72. You're not above the 24 in this case. I assume you're saying, I don't know how you're doing it, but whichever way you're doing it, all right, what you will find is that cross above the 9, there's one there, look, right? That cross above the 9 will be a reversal alert. Same thing. Cross above the 9 is a reversal alert. A lot of the time on a lower time frame. So what you're doing by using the 9 is you're basically replicating in effect what the market reverse alerts indicator would have shown you on a lower time frame, which is why I preach multi-time frame analysis. Which is good. If it's working, do it. I think you use the 15 RSI 14 when trading sentiment. Haven't looked at the RSI at all. So we want to be going long. You see, the problem here is, sorry, you want to be going short. The problem is you're not getting signals. So we want to be shorting this from that day on. We just wanted to be shorting it. I don't know. Yeah, 16 there. So we want to be shorting it from there. You haven't got a signal yet to go short. Again, it's the same thing. Yeah, I don't think all indicators lag. This is the problem with indicators, right? M5 might work, but the problem, indicators lag price. So if you just, and it's very, very simple. Larry Williams did this a lot. Larry Williams' smash bar strategy was basically using daily candles. And all he does was he looks at the daily candle. If that daily candle's low is lower than the previous days and it's pushed up, he buys it. And he buys it here or here, end of day or start of day, because his anticipation is a move for the day. With sentiment, our anticipation is because the market is long, it's going to go short. So if we'd have bought at the open, at some point during the day, we close it. If we'd have bought at the open, at some point during the day, we close it. If we'd have bought at the open, at some point during today, we will close it. And that's why I think using a 4-hour in profit close exit on every single day will work. The problem in that case is, what do you do with the ones that don't get you an in profit? Do you close them on the day and then start the next day? So literally all the EA is going to be doing is opening and closing in profit, or at the end of day, closing in a loss, if it is a loss. So you'd have taken a loss on that day. Let's have a look at what the losses would have been. This would be an interesting one. I'm just brainstorming here, guys, so feel free to dip in. So you'd have opened roughly there, and you'd have closed with 31 pips there. You'd have closed with roughly 31 pips there. On that day, you had potential to make 36. On that day, you had potential to make 25. Today, so far, you've got potential to make 13, but this day is obviously still going. So you're going to get the odd day where it does that, but the vast majority of the days, yeah, as we know, with things like the Euro Swiss, it's intraday. It's Euro US dollar as an example. Intraday, you'd be going buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling. I don't know what the sentiment is now. Euro US dollar. Nothing. There's no neither way. But euro odd. Let's look at when. We need to be looking at the historical, don't we? Let's look at the euro odd historical. This will give us more information. So we wanted to be buying from, I need to change this so it's got 60s and 30s, 60s and 40s. So we wanted to be from there. So the 24th at 3 a.m. there. So that's where you got your first signal to go long, because they flipped short more than 60%. Out, in, out, in, out. See? It's when they hit the 60% mark, the market goes, there's a load of money. And they go short, and they go, there's a load of money. And they go short, they go, there's a load of money. Short, there's a load of money. They're all going short. 91% of the market right now is short. Where is the money? I'd be out today already, I reckon, on a 4-hour. Close. See, look, candle close. I'm out. When this candle closes, I'm out with money. Never took a loss. Those days are the ones that are going to outweigh them, I reckon. I don't know. This all needs testing, but anyway, there's an update on that. Diamond, I'm curious. For these entries, are you using 0.25% risk? The lot size on GF seems smaller than I would have expected. What was I looking at the time? Was I looking at the sentiment? $46. So my risk on these is $500. And my stop is 1 ADR. So I'm using, I presume this is what you were talking about. Yeah. With 1.26 lots, is it? Yeah, there's a double sell here because this is when I switched, because I don't forget I've switched from version 1 of the EA to version 2 of the EA because I had new spacing rules in it, and it ignored all the previous. So it's actually doubled up on some of these. So that there's 2 positions where there should only be 1 there because it took 1 somewhere there and it took 1 there. But it shouldn't have because it's a sweep of yesterday's high or something. Don't know, one of them. Might have been last week's high at that point. So yeah, it's risking $500 with 1 ADR. So an ADR on this is 353.35, and that's the ad distance. ADR is 706. So there's an ADR, roughly. You can see the stops, look. Can you see those? There's the stops. So there's the entry. That's the stop. There's the entry. That's the stop. It's 1 ADR apart. There's the entry. That's the stop. And obviously, I've got it set so that as soon as it enters, it removes the stop. And then my scale out, drawdown control, is when we get to $500 in drawdown, remove 30% of the position. So you'll find that what it's doing is, there's the entry, there's the stop. This was set slightly differently at the time, but it scales out when you get to $500 in drawdown. So i.e., when we get to 1 ADR, you can see it. Look. There's the end. Oh, let's do it with a recent one. Look. There's the entry. There's the stop. There is the drawdown control for the position. Yeah. So when we get to $500, we scale out of 1/3 of the position. And obviously that's bringing our average up nice and close. Well, obviously this is a bad example because we've had a fundamental shift with this new Northern Ireland treaty, haven't we? So the market's gone nuts. And it's flipped. And this is the difficulty with this strategy. If you get in, and it changes so rapidly, yeah. I mean, you look at the historical sentiment, yeah, on the Euro odd, for example. At that point there, and then it drops down to this point down here. Look. Oh, look. So at that point, that high point there, we wanted to be shorting it. And then literally within 12 hours, we wanted to be longing it. So what do you do in that situation? And this is the bit that I'm struggling with from a drawdown perspective is we say, right, yeah, let's get in. If you haven't got out, should you close it end of day? If sentiment is now the opposite direction, I don't mind if it's a 50. If we're undecided, we're likely to range. But if it goes the opposite direction and we've got more than 60% of the market in one direction, I think we should be closing this position out and not position trading it. Or maybe we should do half of the position as drawdown, because it may shift back. If you look at the movement, it's a shame I can't keep this on, but you can see the movement flipping from there to there to there to there to there to there. And this is all happening within days. We're moving from, this is roughly where it will trigger. Your X percent of the market is long, you want to be shorting it. X percent of the market is short, you want to be longing it. Yeah, because we're doing the opposite to sentiment, aren't we? But look how it shifts throughout the week. And then you get other instruments. The euro is probably a bad example for this. That's not too bad. You get other instruments like the euro yen, for example, where they've been short on it for the vast majority of the month. So you wanted to be longing euro yen for the vast majority of the month. Yeah. Where's February start? Here. You want to be longing euro yen because they've been shorting it for a sustained period of time. There were blips where they didn't, and we just went into a range. We had a little blip where they didn't, and it dropped and then pumped again. Yeah. So what do you do? If this is the difficulty I'm finding with this strategy, because unlike a normal strategy where you're using an RSI or something, it all happens very, very quick. My pen's not working for some reason. Oh, my pen crashed. No. With the sentiment, literally from the morning to the afternoon, you could have a completely different sentiment. That's the difficulty with it, especially with not so much with the US pairs. If you look at the US pairs, this is all the majors, basically all the US pairs. These are all hovering around midline, but actually, no, it was with the US pairs. The US pairs, look at it. Up, down, 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 up, down. But that point there on the 27th of February, what was that one? That was the US dollar. No, what was the one I just looked at there? US dollar Swiss. It's US dollar Swiss 27th in the morning. That movement there is that hitting that line, that 25% of the market being long. Everybody flips at that point. That's when the market drops. So it's how to capture that. And I think literally we need to be looking at this on a day-by-day basis. If in the morning we have the sentiment on our side, we will expect the movement to be opposite that direction. But we need to get out intraday. We can't hold these because the sentiment shifts too much. And this is why the EA is going into drawdown unnecessarily, because the sentiment is just shifting too much. Pound Swiss sentiment is not that anymore. It's long. We want to be the opposite. But it shifted, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I don't think this is a position trading strategy. I think this is an intraday scalping strategy. I think that's the way we need to look at it. So I'm going to rework it. Still not using a stop loss. I'm not going to use a stop because that's pointless. Because all that, the whole point of this is they're going to chase stops. It's a sentiment strategy. The whole thing is based around we are going to go and grab the highs and the lows. That's the point. And that's why I was using yesterday's highs, lows, previous day's highs, lows to make money. But I think entering without a stop loss at open of day and then taking either a first candle close on the 4 hour or maybe the hour, depending how it goes, and then either a scale out on the initial position. So 50% scale out end of day and then 50% scale out second day, maybe just get out of the position slowly, or just get out of it completely. I think that's probably the way to go with it, but we will see. That one was over 70 when price turned point. Look at euro odd today. What we're looking at, 15. Yeah, so Euro odd today. Yeah, you got extension down there today, didn't you, on the Euro odd? Come on. Yeah, so 91% short, so we want to be longing it. Yeah, so today you did get a signal on that one today, but you didn't. But this is my point, look. You didn't get a signal that day. You didn't get a signal that day. You got one today, fine. But if you'd have entered it open, you'd have made money. If you'd have entered it open, you'd have made money. If you'd have entered it open, you're making money. This is the problem, and this is what I'm trying to get around, Big Papa. At the moment, what I'm doing is I am taking yesterday's low, previous day's low, and last week's low as entry points. By the time we get to them, potentially sentiment is shifting. So I'm getting in just about late on some of these. I need to be in. I need to be looking at this every morning and going, right, where are they going today? Where are they going today? This would work 1 out of 3, but I don't want to get 1 out of 3. I want to get these. Yeah, so I think RSI is not working. RSI is too slow. Your GF, where you have 4 positions, 1.26 lots. Yeah, okay, 1 ADR. Yep. Sentiment is a trend pullback strategy for intraday. I got Aussie dollar Swiss on Monday. No, sentiment is not a trend pullback strategy. Sentiment is a contrarian strategy. It's not necessarily going to pull back. If you've got, you have to think about the mechanics. What we're looking at here, you need to think about the mechanics, the cogs working underneath the hood with this thing. 91% of the money at the moment on the Euro odd is to the high side right now. What that will be 3 o'clock this afternoon, I've no idea. But right now, if I'm a central bank looking at the Euro odd needing to execute positions, and I've got 100 million euros to execute and exchange for Australian dollars, I have to find people to execute those orders. So my client has said, convert this currency to this currency. I have said to him, no problem, we'll get that done for you today. I can't guarantee you a price, but it will be somewhere within this range. Okay? Yep, no problem. I start to execute my orders and I can't find anybody to take the other side of them. This is where the money and the orders and the liquidity sits. And I don't care if I get that price, and I don't care if I get that price or I get that price. I've got to execute my transactions. I'm a commercial desk. Therefore, I hunt the liquidity. I find where I can get my orders filled. My orders will get filled there, 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 there. At the moment, there and there. Yeah. I'll just go and get them. I don't care. I will go and find it. That's what I'm doing. That's what the institutions are doing. The 10 big banks that move this market, all they're doing is they're filling liquidity orders. And the prop desks are riding along with them because they know which way it's going. Yeah. If you're sitting on a prop desk and you've got a guy that's got to execute tons of long orders on this today, you know which way the market's going. Yeah. So mechanics, which is important, not anything else. And this is what I'm finding is the theory is correct with the EA that I've built, but the execution is too slow. The yesterday's low, previous day low, it works on some occasions, but other occasions it's too slow. And I think if I didn't scale out, you get the risk where it flips the other way and you'll never get out of these things. So I think you've got to be in and out same day. It's a 5-minute in and out job. But I don't know. We need to play with it, don't we? How do you deal with these pullbacks? What pullbacks is those? I don't know what you mean. don't know what I was talking about when you said that. Big Papa, yes, I understand it's contrarian. You check the trend intraday, contrarian to the retail traders, but we'll pull back before stop hunts again. Not necessarily, no. It hasn't, has it? That's just proved the point. It did not pull back. Did not pull back before the stop hunt. Stops are there. Stops are there. Stops are there. Stops are there. Yeah? You got one pullback for those stops. Or rather, those stops. You got one pullback for those stops. All this liquidity, you never got a pullback. There's no trend pullback, is there? We open, we go sideways, we rally. We open, we go sideways, we rally. That's what I don't want to miss. They're great trades. We know the market is going to hunt the highs, but I don't, I'm very, very keep it simple. The simpler the strategy, the better. The simplest strategy you can get is at 1 a.m. if sentiment equals plus 60, press button. That is all you need to do. You don't need to wait for a bullish engulfing, a pullback, a sweep of the Asian lows. Just get in. You're going to hold it and you're going to get out. At some point, I don't know where. It depends what it does. If it has a massive spike, yesterday. So yesterday was, where's price action for yesterday? 27th, 27th, right? So yesterday was enter, exit. Simple as that. Today, 28th was there. Today was enter, when this candle closes, exit. The day before was that candle was the 0, was enter, exit. So that day you got that day you got that day you got that. Keep it simple. I think that's the better thing to do. The days it doesn't work, like that one, yep, there's your entry, there's your exit. So yeah, it worked. But you just took drawdown. You took all of that drawdown to make that. But I don't care. Today, Euro odd appeared as a buy. Today on sentiment. On Monday, it was Aussie dollar Swiss. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not sure you're getting what I'm saying. I'm totally agreeing with everything you're saying, Big Papa. But what I'm saying is, don't complicate it. If 91% of the market is short, just hit the buy button when you wake up in the morning. You don't even need an EA to do this. This is one of those things that you do, right? The thing to do in the morning is you come in here, yeah, and you just go like this. You go, da, da, da. Right. Aussie US, hit the sell button. Aussie CAD, hit the sell button. Aussie Swiss, hit the sell button. CAD Swiss, hit the sell button. Pound New Zealand, hit the buy button. New Zealand US, hit the sell button. Swiss yen, hit buy. Euro pound, hit sell. Every 4 hours, you check your P&L. Every 4 hours, when you've got a green, you close. And then at the end of the day, whatever's left, you decide what to do with it. It's going to be a bit red or a bit green. And if you've got less red at the end of that day than you've closed green, that is a successful strategy and it has a long-term edge. But the edge is going to change every single day. Yeah, so Aussie Swiss today is a short, right? Euro odd today is a long. That's fine. So just hit the button. We've missed it now, haven't we? And this is the thing. It moves in London. Asia is an accumulation session. Asia is where the market builds its books. It builds its books to go long or to go short. So it's executing orders, and we have either a positive or a negative bias for the day based on the book building during the Asian session. The Asian session passes to London. London has an option either to take it long and make a profit or take it short and make a profit. Every single day, there is never an opportunity where you can't make a profit as a bank. because you're executing orders during the Asian session. They're passed to London. London has a positive negative bias. It executes that bias. By the time it gets to New York, it passes to New York. New York has a positive negative bias, which is why you often see the New York session contrarian to the London session, because London session has made a profit. New York then pulls it back to build a book to pass to Asia. Yeah, and that's what happens every single day. Goes through the three sessions, through the three banking sectors. At the beginning of each banking sector, they will have to take it in a direction based on where the liquidity is to execute the orders to make the profit. This is what this is showing us, which way is more likely to be happening today. Because if they need the liquidity, they'll drive it. If they don't need the liquidity, it won't necessarily go there. And those are the ones you're going to close in a loss. As we can see, yeah, with all of these, most of the time you're going to get it. But the entry's got to be simple. You can't wait for a complicated condition to be met, because if it's not met, you're going to miss the rate. You know, you just don't get a chance with these, do you? A lot of these, you just do not get that opportunity to wait for a price action candlestick, an alert, an arrow. Forget it. Just get in. Yeah, take the drawdown and wait. And as soon as you get a green P&L at the end of a candle close, just bank the thing. It may or may not work. Again, this is something that needs to be forward tested, but that's why I built this part of the website out. Because I know the edge is there. I've used the edge in the past, but in the past I used a stop loss, and that's the difference now. I now know that if you use a stop loss, you will always lose money. If you don't use a stop loss, you just wait for the profit to appear. You know, and at the end of the day, let's say, for example, New Zealand dollar Swiss has got a -2. If at the end of the day, you've got a -$100 balance on a $500 risk, for example, and that is a -1, your decision then at the end of the day is, do I hold this to tomorrow? Because the likelihood is they are still going to push, but maybe not as hard. So shall I hang it or shall I dump it? I've made 1,300 today. At the end of the day, I've got a -700 P&L. My choice is dump that, drop it in there and come out with a positive, or hold it. And that's the decision you need to make on a daily basis. But everything that goes into profit on the day is done. And it builds a bank. It's exactly the same as position trading. We use this to offset that. When that's positive, obviously. This is obviously a test EA, so it's not working in that respect. But yeah. I don't know. I'm open to suggestions on it. It's just, you know, that's the way I feel about it at the moment. And now I've been watching this thing run for 3 weeks in various guises of the EA that I've developed. I'm just finding, you know, that's a point. That's spot on. But that entry that was taken there as a long didn't work that day. But the next day, it did. The next day, it did. Today, it is. So you'd have had 1 loss and 3 wins. If I hadn't have closed that at end of day, because I had a lovely big positive balance from the whole day from all the others I've taken, I would hold it. And I would have made a win on that one that day. Or I'd have held it probably to that day. Don't know. It's your decision, isn't it? This is... I need to build the EA out to allow people to do what they want to do with it. But I've tested a lot of strategies with Larry Williams. I used Larry Williams' strategies on daily on the S&P. And his first candle close is a brilliant exit strategy. And it's something I'd never thought of until I read this. But it makes total sense. He gets in when we get a down candle. Yeah, like that. So he basically, he's playing like fractals, really, if you like. So he gets in, he gets out. And he's literally just waiting for the profit. And it's very similar to the, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the 2 RSI strategy on the S&P. If you look at the S&P 500. I'm just waffling now, but what's going on with the DAX, actually, by the way? I didn't pay any attention. So we pulled back. I stopped out on the DAX. Didn't make any money today. Meh. Not paying any attention to that whatsoever. But we have got a nice reversal alert and retest going on at the moment. So that is your reversal alert candle. That is your retest W. So yeah, if you look at the daily, it won't work on this because it's a bear market. But if you use the 2 RSI, his strategy, one of his strategies in a bull market, is literally buy. So as soon as that RSI extends, you buy it. And you don't do anything but buy it again. So this is a smash bar strategy, what's called a smash bar strategy. Let's pick this one. This is the best one to look at as an example. So there we got extended, so we bought it. There we exited. That was an easy one. Bought it. That was a bit too small. You probably wouldn't have exited that, but you probably would have exited that or that. Doesn't matter which. Bought it. Exit somewhere up there. Bought it. Right? Bought it. Bought it. Bought it. Didn't buy, exit. Bought it. Would have bought it. You wouldn't have bought that. You'd have bought that. You'd have bought that. You'd have been out somewhere up there. Yeah, that's his strategy, literally. In a bull market, you just buy it, right? But the exit strategy is literally first candle close in profit. You just take money. You take whatever the market gives you. And if we get a lovely big bull day when we've got in, happy days. We make an absolute fortune. But it's such a simple strategy. And that would work really well with sentiment, I think. First H4 candle close, or you could use the daily, couldn't you? But I think H4 candle close, because you might get an end of day pullback. H4 candle close in profit is going to work. Anyway, we wouldn't. Yesterday, Euro odd wasn't at the top of buy in the sentiment table. Have a look at Euro odd. So yesterday, which is the 27th, yeah, it was. This has been a buy. Euro odd, 38. Yeah, so this has been a buy since there. Euro odd, which is 24th. This has been a buy since the 24th of the Euro odd. 4:57 a.m. And it was a buy there as well. So it entered a buy on the 23rd at 6 a.m. It entered a buy Euro odd. '23rd at 6 a.m. Which is there. That's when you got your first buy signal on Euro odd. So, and this is the question. So the EA checks here. It checks, and it keeps checking every hour, I reckon. Right? And then it goes, oh, got one. And it goes long. And then it waits for a 4-hour candle close and it gets out. Next day, it would check. It was long. Gets in, gets out somewhere in here. Don't know. Might get out there. You'll catch something. Doesn't matter. You catch something. Get in, get out. Get in, out. Since the 23rd, the sentiment has been giving you a buy signal. If you only pick the top, that's fine. And again, the sentiment EA has got the options for what you want to use. Yeah. So there's the input, strategy controls, sentiment extreme to start trading. So I've got it set to 70 at the moment. 60 is a buy. 70 is a strong buy. Anything above 70 is buy the crap out of it. You might choose 50. Again, I've no idea what is the best and what is the worst. I haven't done any back testing on it, but you can go and do all your back testing visually as you like now. It's all on the website. Yeah, this is going back to the 18th of January. So we've got over a month's worth of data now that you can use to backtest Euro Swiss. So you've got the 50 line, the 75 line. You can go down. So the 60 is there. 60's there, and it'll be there. So, you know, anything below 50 means there are less buyers than sellers. So buy it. When you get down to here, you just buy the crap out of it. Yeah, buy down to here. What was this? Euro pound. Euro pound on the 1st of February. Yeah, Euro pound, 1st of February. Everyone in the world was selling it, right? Here. We had Euro pound. We had 91% of the market selling. Only 9% of the market was long on the 1st of February. Yeah. Buy it. Exit on a 4-hour. 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 3rd of February. Where were we? Okay, so 3rd of February, we were still the opposite direction. So you'd need to have a look at what happened on the 3rd of February because it came down hard. 3rd of February, we need to check news events and see why that shifted. Non-farm payroll. Monetary policy for the pound on the 9th, GDP figures. Yeah. So this is where things tend to shift, you see, and this is the other part of this equation is news. You're going to get news events which are going to trigger this in the other direction. And remember, when that happens, all these guys that are short are now actually making money, so they're holding it. But then it flips back the other way. So you need to look at what happened on that date, which was about the 14th of February. Where are we? I can't find it. So it's the 15th of February that they all started to go short on it. The 15th. So there's your 14th. There's the 15th. So the market flipped on the 15th. Bang. See that period? That was after the non-farm payroll. That was the shift, wasn't it? US dollar started to strengthen up. Everything else started to weaken because all the money got dragged out to put into the US dollar. These are things which the news events, like I say, you know, somebody said in the Telegram group, doesn't seem this sentiment's working. We've just had a massive spike in the way that the sentiment is saying not to go because there's a news event. So you've got to be super on top of this. But how does the EA take that into account? You know, there's lots to think about, isn't there, with it? Overall, works absolutely beautifully most of the time. So it's whether or not we can make enough out of the wins to cancel out the ones which go into DD. And if you only pick the top, obviously, you've got probably more chance, I guess. Mohammed, why would take the change in sentiment percent into consideration? We would take the change in percent. Yeah. Yeah. So the EA basically has got the trigger for the sentiment level, which you can adjust. So basically in the morning, it will go, is it above 70 or below 30? So it take the opposite on the opposite direction. So it would look at it, and so there's your extremes. So if, rather than saying sentiment extreme to start trading, that should be confidence level, for example, is a plus 70 or plus 80 or plus 90. Obviously, the bigger the figure, the stronger the move is more likely to be, because the more liquidity is going to be in one direction. The market's got to go to find it. If there is, if 91% of the market is short on something, there's hardly any liquidity to the downside, is there? Because if you're longing it and you're only part of the 9%, 9% of the money's there, 91% of the money's there. That's why we go that way, why the institutions take it that way, because they need to get the orders executed. So they rally through there. And that's why the moves are so fast, because there's no one there willing to take the orders. So they have to grab everything, which means you pop through, because there's so little liquidity there. It's all there. There's nothing there. There's very little at the bottom. That's why the moves are so fast and so quick. And this is the difficulty. And this is what I'm finding, we're not getting here, are we? 85% of the market on this thing that we're looking at the moment is long, is short. Yeah, so we want to be longing it. I'm not getting any of this liquidity grabbed. That's what I'm after. I'm saying, when we come down here, get us in. It doesn't get down there. Just got to get in. But anyway, I'll play with that. I've got to reprogram it today, and then I'm going to test that. That's version 3. The version, this one's working all right. Don't get me wrong, it's making money. But it's missing so much. So I'll make it configurable. You off, Franco? I will try a forward test. Yeah, you got to forward test it. This is the thing. So that'll be my next job. That's my job today. It's just to basically get in, get out. Job done. Right, I'll leave it there. So the DAX has been a bit disappointing this morning. You've disappointed me, DAX. Small loss. So took a small loss on the short, and took a small loss because that was trailing. That might have even been a break even. 30 points. Yeah, there's a break even. So those longs that I took were break even, unfortunately. So one loss, one break even, and everything else is break even. I haven't entered long again because when we got the break, it was exactly at the time the EA stopped. So I've missed this. If you haven't got an 11:30 cutoff like I have, well done, you're in. And try and hold it to the highs, yesterday's high, if you can. Lots of room. 154.85 is where we're headed, potentially, if we can get through that propulsion gap and break out of the open. If we can break the open, I reckon we're off today. Okay, that's all I've got for you today. If you need anything else, let me know. I'll be in the Telegram group. I'll be back at 2:20 for the New York session, if I haven't got my masseur booked in. So I will update you if that happens. I don't think she's going to get me in same day. So, but yeah, I'm very worried. Has anybody had a Thai massage? Where I've been watching videos. She's quite a well-known one. She's actually an instructor as well. So she's very experienced. But I've been watching videos on her YouTube, on her Facebook page. My God, some of the moves she does, like literally kneeling on your back with one knee, that sort of stuff, and like the way she bends people's arms, it looks like she's taking it off. Like those Action Man or whatever, where you can you can pull their arm off because you twist it in a certain way. She's got people's arms twisted. I didn't know that you could twist in that direction. So I'm quite scared about it, because obviously I've got quite a lot of pain in my left arm and my neck where I've got this trapped nerve, and I'm really worried because it hurts when no one's touching it. If she bends my arm like that, oh my God. I don't know. But anyway, I will let you know. So I might have a live room in the next couple of days where I'm not doing it because I don't know. I'm just going to get booked in when she's got an availability. So I love Thai massage. It's brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it's really, really good, but it scares the life out of me watching the videos. I've never had one done. I've been to Thailand loads of times. I spent 6 weeks in Thailand, but I never went for a Thai massage because I was, again, scared of going for a Thai massage. I was with my wife at the time. You don't know what you're going to get when you go to some Thai massage places, do you? So I've heard. Right, I'll leave it there. Anybody got anything? I'll be in the Telegram group. Otherwise, I'll be back this afternoon, 2:20 for the New York session. And I'll work on the sentiment EA today and see if I can get that ready for testing from this afternoon onwards. And then we'll see how we go. All right, so have a good one. Anything you need, let me know. Otherwise, hopefully see you this afternoon. If not, tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time for London. All right, have a good one.